त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तिसुदेशिकेन्द्रं द्वैपायनं सूत्रकृतं मुनीन्द्रं श्रीशङ्करं भाष्यकृतं यतीन्द्रं मद्देशिकञ्चापि नमामि विद्यै। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितप्रज्ञानगणः प्रत्यगर्तो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ॐ प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। Pranams everyone. So we are starting the third chapter today. अथ तृतीयोऽध्यायः। अर्जुन उवाच ज्यायसि चेत् कर्मणस्ते मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे मां नियोजयसि केशव। ज्यायसि चेत् कर्मणस्ते मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे मां नियोजयसि केशव। So this third chapter starts with Arjuna's question. The third chapter is called as, it is titled as Karma Yoga. And all the concepts of Karma Yoga are explained in detail in this chapter. The first portion of this chapter will have Arjuna's question and Bhagavan's answer to Arjuna's question, and then it will be followed by Karma Yoga. The first two slokas are Arjuna's question actually, and it is a doubt that Arjuna raises, for which Bhagavan answers until sloka number 7. Thereafter, it is Karma Yoga, as I said. Now, how could Arjuna get a doubt? Arjuna's doubt or confusion has come as a result of listening to what Bhagavan had said in the second chapter. So this is actually a clarification that he wants from Bhagavan from whatever he had heard in the second chapter. If he had listened to it attentively, he would not have got this doubt. But he had listened to it, but there seems to be some gap in his understanding. So that's why I say whenever someone says they have a doubt, we get happy, because at least it means that some amount of, first of all, they had listened to it to some extent, and also they have some thought process has gone inside their intellect for them to come up with this doubt. So any doubt is good, because that means we have actually applied our own thought process on whatever we had listened. And what Arjuna has raised here is not an irrelevant doubt, because some people may ask questions or doubts for the sake of asking doubts or questions. Here he is asking something close to the topic that Bhagavan had already discussed. And what did Bhagavan had discussed? First, before we come to the sloka or Arjuna's doubt, rather Arjuna's question, we have to understand why Arjuna could have got this doubt. So only then probably we will be able to understand his question also. And if we only understand why Arjuna could have got this doubt, only then we will be able to understand Bhagavan's answer also, because Bhagavan's answer will not be straightforward to Arjuna's question. So for us, we will have to do some analysis at our end to be able to understand both Arjuna's point of view, or rather the intent behind that question, and also understand where Bhagavan comes from. Now, Arjuna's intent, or the reason why Arjuna could have got, first we will understand what Bhagavan had taught in the second chapter. Bhagavan had criticized karma in chapter 2. If you realize, in sloka 42, in chapter 2, Bhagavan said, Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadanti avapaschitaha. Where Bhagavan said, people speak in flowery words about karma, And he said it is not, he criticized those people. Vedavada rata prartha nanyat astiti vadinaha, they said. They said these people will say that there is nothing better than this. And then he also said, in terms of criticizing karma, he said, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. Nirdvando Nitya Satvasta Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. That is in Sloka 45. He said, the first three, the Vedas, Traigunya Vishaya Veda, the Vedas talk about karma. And you will have to give up karma because it will make you attached. Because karma is bandha sadhana. So Bhagavan has criticized karma. Then comes a portion where Bhagavan talks about Sthita Prajna Lakshana. The last portion in the second chapter where he praised Jnāna. He said only due to Jnāna that one can attain such a mental state. And how he explained? He said we started with Prajahati Yada Kaman. He started with person who gives up all desires. And then he ended with saying Brahmasthiti Partha, which means the person realizes the Brahmasthiti. So Jnāna was glorified. Not only that, if you see, Bhagavan started his own, the entire Upadesha in Sloka 11 by starting with Jnana Yoga. He said, Ashocyan anvashochastvam prajnavadamscha bharshase gatasuna gatasumsha na anishochanti panditaha. Panditaha na anishochanti, he said. The wise people do not grieve in life. Which means wisdom alone is the remedy for grief or sorrow. And which means ignorance is the cause of sorrow. So, foundation of Vedanta, the entire Vedanta is that Ajñānāt dukkam, Jñānāt sukham. Ignorance causes sorrow. Knowledge gives us happiness or freedom. And what is Arjuna suffering from? Arjuna is suffering from sorrow. Arjuna is suffering from grief. Therefore, these are the things that Arjuna has heard. And then Bhagavan had spent about 17 to 18 slokas about the greatness of Jnani. The entire last section, he has talked about the greatness of Jnani. And of course, he ended with saying, Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati. Stitvasyam Antakaleyapi Brahma Nirvanam Richati. A Jnani will not get any delusion in life. The only Jnanam is the solution. Jnanam is the medicine for conflicts of life. And we saw Arjuna's problem was sorrow and conflict, Shoka and Moha. And therefore, Bhagavan says, to remove Shoka, it is Jnana. To remove delusion, Moha, it is Jnana. So, Jnanam seems to be the common medicine for both the problems. So, Arjuna seems to be getting this idea that I should get Jnanam. I should work for Jnanam now. This is what Bhagavan had said. But also, the same Bhagavan also said in the middle something about karma. Within Sloka 47 and 48, he said, Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma paleshu kadachana ma karma palaheturbu ma te sangosta karmani. And then he said, Yogasta kuru karmani sangam tyakta dhananjaya siddhayo asiddhayo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. And where he talked about karma yoga, something pertinent about karma. And here Bhagavan says, Arjuna, you have the right only to action. Arjuna, perform action. And then he said, there are many places Bhagavan said, Tasmad yudyasva bharata. Therefore fight, Arjuna. Therefore fight. Do action. So, Arjuna seems to have listened to this in various pieces. He had not been able to put this together. So Arjuna had understood Jnanam was glorified, moksha is only through Jnana. Then he said karma will not give moksha. But Bhagavan also said karma yoga will give vairagya. And therefore Arjuna, perform karma. Perform your duties, perform your action. So this is the problem that Arjuna seems to have got. It is like, or this is the cause for confusion for Arjuna. It's like somebody comes to and says, someone comes and asks, I am a householder, I am in Grihastha ashrama, I have lots of duties and responsibilities. I am doing all these duties and responsibilities. Can I get liberation from this, from doing these things? The answer will be, all the work and duties that you do will not give you liberation. Only Jnana will give you liberation. And yes, go and start doing your duties. Go and continue doing your duties. So it's like the same answer. So Arjuna's conflict is, should I go after Jnana or should I dedicate my life for karma? Should I follow Jnana Yoga? Should I follow Karma Yoga? Actually speaking, Bhagavan has not been confusing in this. He has clearly articulated what should be done. He had clearly mentioned where Karma Yoga should be done, until what time Karma Yoga has to be done, when one should come to Jnana Yoga, until when one should perform Jnana Yoga. He has clearly given it. But of course, Arjuna had not listened to it, or probably not understood it fully because of improper grasping. And same, people even after listening to so many years of Vedanta will ask questions like, is Karma Yoga superior or Jnana Yoga superior? And then they will also ask something like, they will also put two other yogas in the mix. Is Bhakti Yoga is superior or Raja Yoga is superior? And today, these days, there are another yoga also, Kundalini Yoga also. Say they will bring in more yogas to say which one is superior. They want to compare and contrast and find which one is superior, so that we can follow what we think is easiest or what is easiest for us. This approach is extremely prevalent among people now, and Arjuna has sort of come to the same kind of mistake, or come to the same thing. He compares Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, and he says, which one is superior? I'll probably take that one. His claim is Jnana Yoga is superior, and therefore I should take to Jnana Yoga. The reason why he says it, because he wants to avoid fighting this war. He wants to avoid doing his duty, and therefore for him Jnana Yoga seems easier, better, or more comfortable for him. And therefore, and he has already contrasted and said, okay, Jnana Yoga is superior because that is the ultimate solution to moksha. So isn't it better for me to do Jnana Yoga? Because he wants to avoid this unpleasant duty. We all try to avoid these unpleasant duties. Wherever there is unpleasant duties, we try to escape. But Karma Yoga is about performing your duty, whether it is pleasant or unpleasant. For Arjuna, it is not a happy war. Although Arjuna loves to fight, he is a Kshatriya, he loves to fight, he loves to show off his skill. He's a great archer, it's all there. And for this war, he has been preparing himself for the last 13 years. But right now, what has happened? In front of Bhishma and Drona, he does not want to do his karma, he does not want to do his duty, he is looking for an escapist route. So that is the context we have to understand. Now we will come to the Sloka. We will come to the Sloka and try to see what Bhagavan, what Arjuna has asked, and then try to relate it to this the context. Jyayasi chet karmanaste. So Arjuna Vacha, Arjuna asked, and Matha Buddhir Janardana. Janardana means Krishna. And Janardana has got multiple meanings. One meaning is janam or jananam we say, birth. And artha means to destroy. So Janardana means one who destroys the birth-death cycle. It's called as Janardana. Janardana. Jyayasi chet karmanaste. Mata buddhir Janardana. Mata. Matate is there. Buddhi matate. Te mata is there. Te mata means your opinion, your teaching, te mata. Buddhi. Buddhi, again, buddhi has got many meanings. Here it means self-knowledge. Atma Jnana is referred as buddhi. How we have to understand is, in Sanskritam, almost every word has got different meanings depending on the context. Sanskritam is a live language where what happens is that different suffixes and prefixes are added to the root, and each suffix has got a different meaning according to the context. This buddhihi is derived from the root word buddha. Buddha means to know. Buddha means to know. And a suffix ti has been added. Buddh plus ti, buddhi. Now this suffix can mean different things. Buddhi, for example, can mean to an object of knowledge. Object of knowledge. Another object can be, the object of knowledge can be referred as buddhi. Buddhi also can refer to the instrument of knowledge. The intellect is also called as buddhi. And buddhi can also refer to the knowledge itself. So, in Tamil we say, avanukku buddhi illa. Buddhi irka. Adha pathina buddhi irka. We use this buddhi in different ways to reflect whether it is actually an object of knowledge, or whether it is the instrument, or whether it is knowledge itself. So we have to see the context to understand what it means. Here in this context, buddhi does not refer to the intellect. Typically we usually use it to refer it to the intellect. Buddhi, for example, mind, mana, buddhi, chitta, mamkaram, we say when we want to refer to the instrument, intellect. But here the buddhi refers to knowledge itself. And he says, here Bhagavan, here he refers to the Jnānam. And that too, what Jnāna? We are talking about Atma Jnāna. So he says, Jyayasi means to be superior. To be superior. To be superior to what? Karmanaha chet. Chet means in case. If, in case. Karmanaha means action. So Arjuna is asking, if Jyayasi buddhi, or in this Jnana Yoga, Atma Jnanam, is said to be superior to action. If in your, and te mata, in your opinion, he's asking Bhagavan, he's saying, in your opinion, if in your opinion, Janardana, Jnana, buddhi, Jyayasi karmanaha, if knowledge or Atma Jnanam is said to be superior than action. So this is the first line's meaning. And he is saying this, why? Because Bhagavan has already praised Jnana. Jnana in the beginning he has praised, Jnana in the end also he has praised, and he has presented Jnana as the source of or the remedy for sorrow and conflict. And therefore Arjuna is also assuming that Bhagavan's position is Jnanam is superior to karma. And he is attributing this to Bhagavan's teaching. He says, if according to you, or this is your teaching, that you have glorified Jnanam repeatedly, and you have talked so high of all the jnanis of Sita Prajna. Jnanam is superior to action. Then in the next line he says, Tat kim karmani gore mam niyojayasi Keshava. Keshava means again Krishna. Tat kim. Tat means then. Kim means why. Then why? Niyojayasi mam. Niyojayasi means why do you engage me? Do you engage? Niyojayasi means engage. Why do you engage me? Gore karmani. Karmani gore. Gore karmani means in this cruel action. So the second line meaning is, oh Krishna, why do you engage me in this cruel action? Oh Bhagavan, why do you engage me in this cruel action? So if we take it as what it is, hey Bhagavan, if self-knowledge is considered by you to be superior to action, then why do you engage me in this cruel action, oh Bhagavan? So this is the meaning of this particular shloka. And Arjuna says, this is gore karmani, cruel action. It is not that the action is noble. If it is a pleasant action, it will be fine. As I said, in general, people would not like to do what they do not want to do, even if it is their own duty. But there are duties that are always unpleasant. And therefore, certain actions for us are unpleasant and certain actions are pleasant. Now, for Arjuna, if Bhagavan had not actually stopped the chariot in front of Drona and Bhishma, but if he had stopped that chariot in front of Karna and Duryodhana, Arjuna would have been more than willing to fight. This would have been a pleasant action for him. But now that it is because he saw Drona and Bhishma now, this whole action has become unpleasant now. And therefore he is saying, you are engaging me in gore karmani, bloody action. Because it involves blood flow. As I said, killing Karna would not have been a problem for him. Killing Duryodhana would not have been a problem for him. But Bhishma and Drona, it is not a pleasant action for him. So he is saying, instead of actually inspiring me to go to some ashrama, make me study the scripture, you are now asking me to go to this battlefield. You are asking me to engage me in action. And this action is not going to give me any jnana. It is not going to give me atma jnana. Karma no action will give us jnana. For jnana, the only way that one can do is only through shravana manana nididhyasana, only through listening to scriptures, only through reading and listening to scriptures. So, here Arjuna is finding a little bit of fault with Krishna, as in Bhagavan. He says, why are you asking me to do this? And his understanding is because Bhagavan had criticized karma in Yamimam Pushpitam Vacham and all those things. So he is basically coming to this conclusion. What he had failed to listen is Bhagavan's stuti or glory where he glorified karma yoga. He said, Neha Vikramano Shastri Pratyavayona Vidyate Swalpam Abhyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bayat. Bhagavan in Sloka 40, he had actually praised karma yoga. Now, Arjuna had failed to listen. That comes out of what we call as selective hearing. Even when we are teaching, even when we are listening to this class also, we generally have only selective hearing. Concepts that are already little bit known to us, or concepts that are in line with our current thought process, or concepts that are easy for us to follow, only those will be heard by us fully, completely. Concepts that are actually very difficult to follow, or against our thought process, or against our already our assumptions and whatever understanding that we have got by listening to or reading other books, if they are against them, generally those concepts we will not be able to relate to or understand, or even will go through our intellect. So Arjuna's position is quite similar in that respect. So he says, hey Bhagavan, if your opinion or if your teaching is that Jnana is superior to action, then why do you engage me in this cruel action? First of all, what we should understand is we should never compare Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. As far as we are concerned, we should be clear. There is no comparison between Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are not optional sadhanas. Both are equally important for every individual. What we have to understand is Karma Yoga is the first stage of sadhana, and only by doing Karma Yoga a person becomes fit for Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga is incomplete without Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is impossible without Karma Yoga. That we have to understand. It's like asking somebody whether you want to go to, whether a small child, whether you want to go to primary school or secondary school. There is no choice. We have to go one after the other. Without going through the first one, the second one is impossible. So as I said, Arjuna's problem is filtered listening. So that has not actually gone into his mind. As I said, even for not just these things, but sometimes what happens is when there are multiple concepts that are being discussed in a single class, only about, if there are about 10, maybe about 2 or 3 only go into our mind. There are, because as we are actually listening to one concept, the second concept comes, but our mind is still lingering in the first concept, we will not be able to move into the second concept. That's why we often say, Vedanta Shravanam is such that we will have to keep listening to the same class again and again, because new things would come through as and when we are actually listening for the 5th time, 7th time, whatever be it. Every time something new we would be able to grasp from there. So it's very important that we do continuous Shravanam, keep doing the Shravanam again and again. Because it might be the same concept, same Upadesha also, but the benefit that we get will be, each time we will get better benefit, because our adhikaratvam, our qualification would also have improved. From what we were 3 months back or 2 days back, we would have actually improved our personality, spiritual personality, in terms of getting this knowledge. So when we hear it for the next time, for the second time, third time, fourth time, we would be able to get more concepts clearer. So Arjuna's mindset is, he wants a confirmation from Bhagavan. You tell me, you have told me this, now I am going to take this as a confirmation. Please confirm to me that I need not do my duty. I will actually drop the weapons. I will get out of the war. And that's what I want to do. But at the same time, Arjuna does not have the guts to do it himself. He wants Bhagavan's confirmation. He wants Bhagavan's approval before he wants to do that. That's why he is asking the question. Otherwise, if Arjuna does not want to do that, he would have said, okay, Bhagavan, you have said that, I heard you, now I am dropping the weapon, I am going out. He didn't say that. He wants Bhagavan's approval. And that's also, we always, true. Sometimes we always want to have this validation from other people before we take the decision. It is the decision that we want to do, but we want to actually hear it from somebody else. And if somebody says against us, against what we want to hear, we will get upset with this person, we will actually criticize that person, we will we will not go back to that same person again. We want somebody to validate what we want to hear or what we have already arrived as a decision. So it's like having an open mind, but with but it's not fully open. It's actually closed. So this is Arjuna's position now, and Arjuna is continuing on the same question in the next sloka also. So we'll see in the second sloka, which is continuation of his question. Second sloka. Vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vada nishchitya yena shreyohamapnuyam. Vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vada nishchitya yena shreyohamapnuyam. Now Arjuna is continuing from the last sloka, as I said. He has not listened to the Bhagavan's Upadesha in the second chapter fully. And that is also true when, another thing that I want to mention, when people come to this Vedanta, when they listen to this Shravanam, do Shravanam here, what happens typically, many of them would have already some inclination to some spirituality in their lives. And therefore, what would have happened is they would have listened to some various gurus, various schools of thoughts, various topics, here some, there some, before they come to this. And this here, what we do a structured, systematic teaching. But what would have happened so far? Would have learned from some lectures of certain gurus, say some bit of Visishta Advaitam, we wouldn't even know. Some bit of Dvaitam, some bit of corporate gurus. We would have come with certain conclusions and certain ideas about how a life must be led, what the Shastras want us to do, or whether we don't even consider that. We probably we already have an understanding of how a life should be led, how people should be treated, what can work in this life, what will not work in this life. All these conclusions we would have already made. That is because of all the samskaras, the impressions that our mind have got from listening to, experiencing all those things. And when we start listening to this Vedanta, we are looking to seek confirmation from whatever ideas and conclusions that we have already made. And what happens typically when the ideas and thought process are not aligned, as in the teaching is not aligned with the conclusions and the ideas that the person has, then those get lost. Those points get lost either because the person becomes inattentive at that point of time, or the person wants to choose to ignore. And this is a problem in our intellect. It is a dosha in our intellect. That either we become inattentive, and we may not even realize that we have become inattentive during those portions, or we may not even understand that our intellect has actually brushed aside that teaching or given less importance to this teaching. That we may not even realize. And here Arjuna has got this problem. He's been probably inattentive during those portions, and therefore Arjuna is seeking a contradiction or seeing a contradiction in Bhagavan's teachings. So Bhagavan, he has said, if your opinion Jnana is superior to karma, why are you asking me to engage in this cruel war? If you are saying Jnana Yoga is superior, why are you asking me to do karma? Why are you not asking me to do Jnana Yoga? as I said, if Arjuna had no Shraddha with Bhagavan, or no Shraddha, then what he would have done? He would have simply disregarded whatever Bhagavan had said, and he would have just gone ahead out of this war. But Arjuna has got some Shraddha, and in this shloka, the first question that Arjuna had raised, he actually now, what shall I say, he is trying to show or cover that shloka with another question or another thing to confirm that he is still very a true Shishya, and he has got that Shraddha. That is what comes across in this particular shloka. So, Arjuna's Shraddha comes here in this shloka, and this is how it comes out. Vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim moha yasiva me. Vyamishreneva. Vyamishrena means contradicting, confusing. Vyamishrena means contradicting or confusing. Vyamishrena vakyena. So through this contradicting statements, vakyena means statements, through this contradicting statements, mohayasi buddhi me, buddhi mohayasiva me, mohayasi me buddhim. You are confusing my intellect. Remember, here buddhi means intellect. In the previous shloka, buddhi means atma jnana. Here buddhi means intellect. That's why I said context is very important, and also it is also another reason why we say shastras should not be studied on our own. It should be learnt through the teachings of the parampara. Here buddhi means intellect. He says, through conflicting statements, you are confusing my intellect. Because why? Bhagavan said, what are the conflicting statements that he is referring to here? In second chapter, it is 245. Bhagavan said, Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. Bhagavan had denounced karma. He said, karma in the Vedas will not give you anything. Will not give you Nistraigunyo. Overcome that. But also he said in 247, Karmanyeva adhikaraste. You have only right to action. Do not have any attachment on inaction, he said. So he is calling these two statements as Vyamishrena. Vyamishram means contradictory. So first statement is you will have to renounce action as prescribed in the Karma Kanda of the Vedas. That's what Bhagavan said. Then he said, do your duty as given in the Karma Kanda. That's what Bhagavan said. So he says, through these conflicting statements, you are confusing my intellect. If Arjuna had just said that, we would have assumed that Arjuna does not have Shraddha. Vyamishrena. Vyamishrena iva is there. Iva in the word after this Vyamishrena, it means seemingly. Iva means seemingly, as though. And this Iva has to be included both for Vyamishrena as well as Mohayasi. So Iva means seemingly or as if. So Iva Vyamishrena means through seemingly contradicting statements. Seemingly contradicting, which means it's not actually contradicting. Through seemingly contradicting statements. And then Iva Mohayasi means you are as if confusing my intellect. So which means we have to understand this statement as, Arjuna's statement as, through seemingly conflicting statements, it is as if confusing my intellect. So he is not saying it is contradictory, it seems contradictory. And that is where his Shraddha comes in. So which means I have not understood this properly, but I may not have understood this properly. That is the position of a Shishya. Remember, in the previous sloka, he kind of blamed Bhagavan there, but then Arjuna recovers here and he puts the blame on himself. He says, you will not teach wrongly. I have not understood this correctly. It is my mistake. And that is also Vinayam, humility, Shraddha, the faith or belief in the teacher and the teaching. One thing that we have to understand is, with regards to our scriptures, the scriptures is never illogical. Our scriptures have undergone the test of time and intellect of various rishis across so many millions of years. If there had been some kind of contradiction, or if there had been some kind of illogicity in these scriptures, there would not have been so many Mahans and Jñānis in our culture. There is no question of any illogicity. And in fact, our scriptures are such that, first of all, it's all FAQ. As in, a Shishya will ask a question, the Guru will try to explain. Every question is trying to, every possible doubt, even this place. We have not got this doubt. Arjuna has got this doubt, and this Arjuna's doubt also, our Shastras have actually gone through threadbare to understand why Arjuna could have got this doubt, how could have got this doubt. All these analyses which are done by our scriptures, by the Bhashyakartas. Same thing. I mean, there is a text called Brahma Sutra. What has happened is, even within this Vedas, there could be seemingly contradicting statements. In one place, Vedas could say something, another place, Vedas could say something else. There could be seeming contradictions there. This Brahma Sutra is actually a separate text it is called as Jñāna Prasthana, which is to only analyze the logic, to do a logical analysis of the entire scriptures. Where it is meant, what was the context, how it should be interpreted as against this one. This Brahma Sutra was actually authored by Vedavyasa. In other religions, this illogicity would be accepted and said that it is a matter of faith. But in our scriptures, we do not emphasize on faith alone or Shraddha alone. We say the emphasis is on understanding. You can ask any number of questions as long as it is within the realm of Shraddha, which means you want to understand, not for the sake of finding fault. And you can ask all these questions until you are convinced. And there are so many doubts we may not get, but when we are doing this study of Bhagavad Gita, we are raising doubts, as in this. The Bhashyakartas are raising doubts for us, which we may not have also, because we have not done a deep through analysis of Bhagavad Gita. But they do it for us, ensuring that even if we get a doubt at a later stage, here is the answer for you. Upfront, I give you the answer. So that's why we may have to re-listen to these lectures again and again, because today we may not find this doubt important enough. But as we grow spiritually, we may get this doubt. At that point of time, when we listen to this, we will say, okay, that has been already explained. So here, the word Eva, Arjuna shows is Shraddha. Your Upadesha is, Arjuna says, is for removing my delusion and confusion. Bhagavan has started giving this Upadesha because Arjuna was suffering from moha, delusion. Now Arjuna says, it seems I might get deluded by the seemingly contradictory statements. And that is Arjuna's Shraddha. When we talk about Shraddha, there is another portion where Bhagavan is going to talk about Shraddha, but quickly we will see what is Shraddha. Shraddha can be defined or divided into three types. One is Shraddha, second one is Ashraddha, the third one is Kushraddha. Shraddha, Ashraddha, Kushraddha. What is Ashraddha? Ashraddha means absence of any Shraddha. So, Guru says something, the Shishya is not able to understand the context, the meaning or the concept, is because probably he is not qualified enough. Because not everybody can understand. So immediately what the Shishya does, he finds fault with the Guru. Or he finds a fault with the teaching also. And he would say, the teacher himself has understood this wrongly. It is not what the scriptures say. This person is giving his own interpretation. This is to actually belittle the Guru and see, so that he is not seen as a fault, or he does not seem to be at least finding fault with the scriptures. Because if not many people will agree that the scriptures are at fault. This is Ashraddha. So finding fault with the teaching is called as Ashraddha. Then Kushraddha means it's kind of irrational belief. So we listen to a statement, that statement is not able to sit in our intellect as knowledge because it seems contradictory to our thought process, our way of thinking or our understanding of things already. But whatever it is, we decide to take it as it is. We decide to accept it as it is. That is called as foolish belief, Kushraddha. If I am accepting something, even though it seems contradictory to my understanding, or it is not convincing enough to my knowledge, but I am able to accept it without asking questions or without doing my homework to get this understanding right, without doing a vichara on that, then it is called as Kushraddha. The issue with that kind of Shraddha is that position, or that position where it actually sits in your intellect as knowledge will not last long. Because it has not deepened itself in your intellect. Because it is irrational belief right now, it will go away. Many of the other religions, when they say all these kind of scriptures, say these things, say the world was created in 7 days and stuff like that, you will not believe. Because although you may want to take it initially as irrational belief, you may want to take it in your mind, it will not last long. You will lose that knowledge. That knowledge will not come to help at all. So that is Kushraddha. We should not have Ashraddha. We should not have Kushraddha. We should have Shraddha. What is Shraddha? When I hear something contradictory, or I am not able to accept as it is, then neither should I accept as it is, nor should I reject the teaching or statement. What should I do? I will have to try to understand that properly. Where are the contradictions? Why have I got this particular view of life, that this is how it should be, whereas this is what the teaching says, and I should do a vichara. At that point of time, I understand that there is something wrong with my intellect where I am not able to pick this understanding. So which means I will have to question my understanding. I will have to reflect on the teaching. I ask the Guru to teach again and again so that I understand, until I am able to see that logically I am able to understand this. How many times do I need to listen to? How long do I need to do vichara? Until I get the understanding. Until I am able to grasp it properly. That is real Shraddha. The problem for us is we have come with multiple janmas. We have taken millions of janmas. We have our own warped understanding of how the world operates, how the world works, what should be our priorities, what is success, what is failure. All these are our thought process over millions of births. Shastra says something different. And therefore we have to unwind sometimes. And that takes some time for us to reflect and then accept that knowledge. And why do we do so much of vichara on Shraddha now? Because Bhagavan later on will say, Shraddhavan labate Jñānam. Only a person with Shraddha will get this knowledge. If a person does not have Shraddha, irrespective of how intellectually sharp he may be, he will not get this knowledge. The teachings will seem contradictory at times between what we have understood and what is against thought. If we reject the teaching, it is our rule, we are loser. If we accept as it is without doing a proper analysis, if we accept it also, it will not become our knowledge because it will not stay long. But if we reflect on it, if we are clarified of it, if we get all our doubts clarified, if we are convinced of it, because of the reflection that we did out of Shraddha, only then it becomes our knowledge, only that knowledge will come to our help. So Arjuna here says, he does not say, Bhagavan, you are contradicting. It seems contradicting to me. He did not say, you are confusing me. He says, I seem to be confused by the word iva. That's the first line. Now the second line, Tadekam vada nishchitya yena shreyoham apnuyam. Vada. Vada means tell me. Vada tad ekam. Ekam tad ekam vada. Ekam tat means one of these two. Tell me one of these two. He is asking Bhagavan to tell him one of these two. Which one? Jnana or karma? That's what he says. And how does he want Bhagavan to say? Nishchitya. Nishchitya means tell definitely. You tell me definitely one of these two. Very clearly you tell me which one I should do. And why does he say that? Because sometimes when we ask we want to take an opinion of another person, we say whether I should do this or do this. Those persons say you may go or you may not go. Why should we ask them? We need not ask them at all. We are asking them because we are not clear. So Bhagavan, he wants to be very clear with Bhagavan. You should not tell me, Arjuna, do this or do that. No. You have to tell me what should I do. You have to tell me whether I should do karma or do jnana. You tell me. I'm in a confused state. It will not solve my problem if you just give me some this or that answer. Nishchitya. Give me a proper, clear answer. So Nishchitya vada. Tell me clearly. And if you tell me what will I achieve, Arjuna says, what will I achieve? Yena shreyoham apnuyam. Yena means by which? Aham. Shreyaha aham apnuyam. Aham means I will attain. I will attain what? Apnuyam means I attain. What? Shreyaha. Shreyaha means the supreme good. By which I will... Shreyaha means moksha. By which I will attain moksha. So Arjuna's question is, through these seemingly conflicting statements, it is as if you are confusing my intellect, as it were. Tell me one of these two for sure, by which I will attain moksha. This is Arjuna's question, the second sloka. Now what will Bhagavan do? Bhagavan does not want to and will not also just advise. Okay, Arjuna, you asked me a question, this is the answer. Take karma, take jnana. That is not what Bhagavan will do. What he will do is, he will not give us, He will not just give you an order. It is not advice alone. It is not value preaching that Arjuna, Bhagavan does. And the bane of many cultures is this value preaching only, advice giving only. But by doing that, what happens is, when we do this series of things, we lose our thinking capacity, Viveka Shakti. In Vedanta, in our culture, we emphasize Viveka, discrimination, the knowledge, intellect. The intellect has to be used, must be used. That's why Shankaracharya wrote a book called Viveka Chudamani. We are different from animals only because of this faculty called intellect. So in our culture, we do not preach, we teach. We do preach, but it comes along with the teaching. When Shastra says Satyam Vada, tell the truth, that's preaching. But then what happens in our culture? We say, what is the Guru tells what is the story of the glory of speaking truth, what is the plus points of speaking truth, what are the minus points of not speaking truth, all those things. It's teaching. So the Guru converts it into our value. The Guru gives us the knowledge, and thereafter we decide. And our Shastras are also not very strict. They say, I have taught you. It's up to you whether you want to follow or not. I have given you what are the pros and cons of doing and not doing things. It's up to you. The Guru does not decide for us. The Shastras does not decide for us. The Guru just passes the knowledge. The Guru becomes a consultant. That's all. So preaching initially is kind of superficial. Teaching alone will have the long-term effect. In teaching alone, the transformation will take place. And once a person is transformed, that person can know how to decide, what to decide. So, whereas Arjuna here is looking for a advice, direct commandment. Bhagavan, tell me, what should I do? But then Bhagavan does not want to advise. And that's why we have another 5 slokas where Bhagavan is teaching. What Bhagavan teaches, we will see in the next class. Any questions or comments? Okay. If not, then we will see in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.